Just my
ready?
balls.
And with that, we are back for another episode of Middle-Aged and Mediocre. Tell them who you are.
I'm Joel.
I'm Cash. We're back with episode 25 of Middle-Aged and Mediocre.
Yep.
And this is our second take of this episode.
Part 2.
Yeah. We had originally planned to have the episode be about me and my days of backyard wrestling.
Yep.
But what I quickly found out was my memory is completely shot.
Yeah.
So I was really struggling to line up things, to come up with
You gave me half of it was really Hulk Hogan's bio, which I thought was weird.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't believe
Hiro
it.
Matsuda did break my leg.
Yeah.
So back in the day.
And I can't even remember last week, so I can't be mad at
Right,
you
so
or
you didn't know if
anything.
I was telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was like, you body slammed Andre the Giant?
In front of 8,400,000 people in the Silverdome.
Well, maybe we can try that again, right?
We'll try it again. I've put out,
like
I'm going to get in
wrestling
touch
talk.
with some people from back then.
Yeah.
Adam Johnson being one of them.
Call it out.
Adam, I'm publicly calling you out
Put him on wax.
for reading my Facebook messages and then just ignoring me. So
Nobody ignores Cash.
Nobody. Not if they want to live. Please don't let Adam die soon because this is
Oh, man.
this is terrible evidence.
Now we're going to have to re-record this
Great.
episode.
So we're going to scrap this one too. But no. So we decided that'll happen later on down the road when I can actually get more of a complete timeline.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of just scattered. And I went back and listened to it and there were some things I shouldn't have said because without a lot of
When you were saying some stuff, it was in my head. I was like, cool, all right.
Yeah, without the proper
I mean, it's
context.
your story, it's your painting to paint. Who am I?
Right,
to
and I didn't
judge?
paint it well.
No.
Yeah, I didn't use enough.
It was all runny and stuff.
Yeah. There was just a lot of there was a lot of things.
I think ketchup was on there.
that
You
need
didn't even have any
context.
red, so you're like, I'm just going to use ketchup.
Just the way they do in pro wrestling. That's what blood is.
Oh, yeah.
Ketchup packets.
you
Everybody
talked
knows
about that
that
for like a half hour last
Yeah, I
week.
went on a half-hour rant about that. So I exposed the business pretty
And
bad.
semen, they use mayonnaise.
Wait,
in wrestling.
when have you seen semen in wrestling?
I don't know. That's what you were talking about. You said it was backstage stuff that I wouldn't understand.
You've been listening to my secret journal entries. Anyways, we're back
Gross.
this week with a tale of murder.
Yay.
We're getting back to what we're good at, and that's talking about death.
Making fun of people that's been brutally murdered.
Hey, everything's opening back up.
That's not really making fun.
No one gives a shit about COVID anymore, apparently.
What?
So, we're
COVID who?
going to get right back to it.
Yeah.
I went to the grocery store the other day. I had a mask on.
Uh-huh.
And the one I went to was right up here up the street. Mostly older people go there, shop there, to avoid the hustle and the bustle of Walmart. So I put a mask on.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm, want to be polite and not
Yeah.
cough on old people.
Yeah.
And also just, in case anybody's in there that has it, I don't want to get that shit either.
You care about the people.
Yeah. So other than 2 employees, I'm the only one in there with a mask.
Yeah.
Some woman looks me dead in the eye, some 50-year-old woman, looks me dead in the eye, rolls her eyes at me and scoffs,
Ooh.
and just shakes her head and keeps walking.
Did you body slam her?
No.
Wait. So you're wearing a mask. Were you wearing anything else?
Oh,
Ah!
yeah.
It's not just a mask.
Well, okay, that explains a lot.
It's probably your mayonnaise that she was coughing at.
Talking about mayonnaise. But no, I'm really glad.
Nah, I hear you, though.
I'm glad to know that she's probably going to be dead soon. That's the only thing that made me feel
Followed
happy
her
about
homemade shirt.
it. No.
All right.
I cannot keep putting evidence out there.
I'm kind of in the middle. I don't wear a mask out, but I don't. If someone's wearing a mask, cool.
Yeah, I do if I get.
I just keep my mouth shut.
if I go
only
in
touch
somewhere,
the
I
things
do.
I'm buying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably wrong with it, but
I don't know. I really don't want to get it. I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get it. Yeah.
But fucking man, all the people that have just decided fuck it,
Yeah. There's.
and
That's where I'm. Yeah. I'm not. So I'm not going out places like you were talking.
Right.
Things are opening. I'm not.
I've seen all the pictures of other cities where there's just huge crowds of people.
I wouldn't want to be in a crowd like that anyway.
No, yeah,
And
at
especially
any
with
point in
this,
life.
yeah. But an open mic could be next weekend, and I wouldn't go.
Right.
Unless it was something outside, but I wouldn't want to be inside a place, and I would feel weird asking people to come to a place to be inside.
That's how we feel about running Inception shows.
Yeah.
We're not comfortable with
I mean, I miss it,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be the reason a bunch of people get sick.
Yeah.
Like, just in case. I mean, we just don't know enough about. Like, I just don't think we know enough about this.
Yeah.
To
and
really
they blew it
be
up into such a huge thing. I mean.
Well, not only that, but then
kinda...
there's all these reports of like false information about the cases. Like, some places reported hardly any, and it turns out that there's actually a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know. There's so much misinformation out there.
I
feel like
I
there's
think it's
something.
all misinformation.
Well, I feel like there's something we're not being told.
There's always something we're not.
Yeah, like I feel like there's something. Like, I think they know. I don't know. I have this like idea in my head that they know that there's going to be some shit happening.
Yeah. Well,
soon.
I think they knew it was coming, and then
Yeah.
they didn't. Whoever they is, but yeah.
Right.
Like I feel from the beginning maybe could have been handled a little differently.
They is the NWO.
Yeah. God damn it, Scott Hall.
Yeah, Scott Hall's in charge of all this. Yeah, and then all these.
He is the bad guy.
Whether I don't know whether it's all as dangerous as it was originally said, or it's not, or it might be again. I don't know. The fucking people who are out protesting and showing up with guns,
Yeah.
and like talking about how their freedoms are being infringed on.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourselves. If any of
They're
you,
just like the slaves from olden times.
I saw the picture today of some woman, some fucking ugly ass white woman, holding a sign with a.
Dogs and slaves wear masks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Fuck.
it had like a slave wearing like the
Yeah, there's like a
mask.
story behind that. I don't know what the story is, but behind the woman that was on the poster.
Yeah.
Or the picture. But man, fuck that
Yeah.
woman. And her daughter, I think, was holding it too. But like all those people that are, like, I don't want to rant about this for too long. But I'm already into it. Like, all of those people are the same ones that when like a fucking unarmed black guy gets shot down,
Yeah.
whether it's by cops or just trashy ass white people, they're the first ones to be like, well, if they would have just listened to the law,
Yeah.
if they would just listen to directions.
Follow the rules.
And now you motherfuckers are out here because you can't go get your hair cut.
All lives matter except the ones that they might contaminate.
Yeah. It's just, man, it's just so fucking.
Fuck everybody.
I hate hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That's what I hate.
I just hate people, so it's like.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I like doing the comedy like to people.
Two people. I like to do comedy to people.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I don't really care for people.
Yeah. That's why I was always.
As a group.
That's why I was always super good at
Everyone listening, I love you.
being a heel as a wrestler.
Yeah.
'Cause I just don't fucking like people.
Yeah.
So.
But like single people, persons you like.
Yeah, there's
listen.
yeah. And on an individual basis, I like people as
If it's
a
like
whole.
more than 10.
But as a whole,
Yeah.
there's just no, like, that's just a bad idea to have this many people.
I've been avoiding the COVID all my life. Like if it's more than 10 people, like I'll just.
I've always dipped out.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, I'm gonna socially distance myself away from this. But all right, we're gonna get into what we're here for, and that's murder.
Murder.
Because that's, we're back on the cases here. This one was solved, but still.
Oh, this one's solved?
Yeah. But it's still a pretty good story. So, you ready to get into this one?
I'm ready.
All right. So, Charles Scudder was born on October 6th, 1926. In his youth, he was a highly intelligent young man, interested in almost everything. He studied drama, music, and art, but ultimately he chose to pursue science as his career. He had 2 early heterosexual marriages, which I
feel like the way
I prefaced that for a reason.
Preface that it's gonna change.
Yeah, the second of which produced 4 sons named Saul, Gideon, Fenris, and Ahab. And unfortunately, Ahab would die young.
Those are the last 4 people named those names.
Fenris, especially. That's a good one though. He received his education at the University of Wisconsin and Loyola.
Badger.
A Badger. He was a
All
Badger.
right.
And Loyola's Stritch School of Medicine. He earned degrees in zoology, languages, and chemistry, and he earned a PhD in pharmacology.
Doctor, then.
So he was a smart fucking dude. Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Charles Scudder.
Scudder.
In 1959, he met Joseph Odom, who was 12 years his junior. Joseph served as a cook and a housekeeper to Dr. Scudder and his sons, and lived in the aging mansion that Dr. Scudder had purchased, which had been built in 1904 and was designed by a student of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and was located on Adams Street on Chicago's west side. So Joseph Odom is his boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Living in the house on his property. Or
Pretty much
whatever.
everywhere you read, it's he's described as his live-in friend. In an article that Dr. Scudder wrote, he kind of goes out of his way to not. He's just Joseph's his buddy.
Yeah.
Is basically what he,
Well, back then.
So it's still very looked down upon.
Well, plus he's married.
Well,
I mean, that's that too.
I don't think he was actually at his.
Really?
I'm pretty sure there's really not a whole lot of mention of his wives, of what happened to them. So I mean, they're still alive. Nothing happened to them. I mean, no, I'm sure they're dead by now.
Yeah,
probably. But yeah.
Okay.
Or they could be really old.
What do you know about his wives and how they died, Josh?
Look, man, let's get off.
Is that the lady that rolled her eyes at you?
I can't confirm nor deny that. It was a rough area that I lived in, but Dr. Scudder enjoyed the fading splendor of the mansion and the space it provided for his various interests, which included collecting antiques, producing his own paintings,
and his buddy Joe,
Joseph, playing the harp, providing a home for the two huge English Mastiffs that they owned.
Big old doggies.
Which they named...
Siegfried and Roy?
I can remember. Beelzebub
the devil.
was the name of one, and then the other was named after... I can't remember now.
Was it like a heavenly name?
No. It was like another... It was named after like I don't know. Something. Yeah. Something like creepy and spooky. Mm-hmm. But anyways... and he pursued lively correspondences with various individuals and institutions, including the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey. Although he told his friends in Georgia that he hadn't joined the organization due to the membership fee, a search of the Church of Satan's...
$666, good sir.
Not quite.
Oh.
A search of the Church of Satan's archives had revealed that Dr. Scudder did indeed become a member of the Church of Satan, mailing his membership form and a check for $50
$50
to San Francisco on June 16th, 1980.
Even like the
even
Church
in
of
1980.
Satan or whatever, like they just want money.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, they got to pay for LaVey's orgies.
Sure. Okay. Orgies?
Yes, lots of them. A canceled check for a subscription to the Church of Satan's newsletter, The Cloven Hoof, was found on his desk after his death.
I read it on the shitter.
According to his friends, whenever the subject of church or religion came up, Dr. Charles Scudder would always say, "I'm a Satanist." In 1976, Scudder was an associate professor of pharmacology. Not really.
Nope.
Professor of pharmacology at Loyola University's Stritch School of Medicine, serving as both a research scientist and an instructor.
Is this Dr. Satan?
No, he actually...
He's the original Dr. Satan.
We'll kind of get into it, but the Satanism, satanic thing.
Yeah, that's a weird word.
It wasn't really
okay.
What it seemed.
Okay.
The research he was involved performing government-funded experiments with mind-altering drugs like LSD.
Sign me up, Doc.
Scudder himself had stated that this was a good job, and those who knew him at Loyola described him as brilliant, polished...
Yeah, because they're all tripping on balls!
And soft-spoken, but very confident.
It's like his light had his fingertips had light coming out of him.
And his hair was just fire, man. It was crazy.
He's a good professor.
He had 7 mouths. Scudder was very memorable due to the fact that he would dye his hair purple, and he kept a pet monkey.
Oh.
So this is a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
So his sons eventually grown and left home for their own pursuits.
Imagine having that as your dad.
Yeah.
All dads are embarrassing. But then like your dad, purple hair and a monkey.
Who was just like, he's like, yeah, man, love the devil, love my monkey.
I want the monkey
purple hair.
I want the monkey rode the Great Danes.
I bet after he did some LSD,
man, yeah.
that monkey dropped a couple tabs of LSD.
God. This guy's got the trip with 2 giant dogs and a monkey.
Hell yes.
Fuck.
He was still reeling from the sudden death of his youngest son, Ahab, as well. He became disillusioned with his career and tired of the challenges of living...
Brother, I hear you there.
He tired of the challenges of living in a disintegrating neighborhood, or as he put it in an article that he wrote for Mother Earth News. You know, we both have a subscription to that. Yeah. Quote, "My house was no castle in the country. I lived in an old mansion in a decaying residential area that was more like a mausoleum, a tomb requiring care, cleaning, and endless costly repairs. I was plagued with taxes, light bills, gas bills, water bills, heating bills, and the helpless feeling that resulted from watching my old neighborhood disintegrate into an urban ghetto.
Ooh.
Now, that's a bit racist.
A little bit. A little elitist.
You got that coded language there.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, so also from his Mother Earth News article, quote, there were other factors prodding me toward a life-changing decision. I had a good job as an associate professor in a medical school, so I received a salary raise each year. But, of course, it was always more than swallowed up by inflation. And as time passed, the medical students grew more unruly and less interested in learning. The standards of the school steadily dropped, and my department became a hotbed of office politics, backbiting, and resentment. As soon as I got home each evening, I'd change into my old, and not too clean or mended, jeans and muddle about in the garden, finding there the only real moments of satisfaction left in my urban life. I was even pleased when the city's wildlife, the rats, drank from my garden pool at night. In such a melancholy environment, it was no wonder that I suffered, along no doubt with many others, from continual hankering, vexation, and apathy. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Vexation got us all.
I'm knee-deep,
You're
buddy.
vexed right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can tell. But then I inherited my little income, and I thought, I want out. Oh, man, do I ever want out. The income he's talking about is he inherited a little bit of an inheritance, which basically came out to about $100 a month that he would get. I don't know who he got it from. But.
That's probably good, like 1940s by this time, maybe.
Oh, no, this was 1976.
Oh, 1976,
yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, still, $100 a month.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll take it. Give it to me.
Give it to me now.
I'm not putting this knife away until you give me $100.
You just hold that knife there, buddy.
Okay.
Charles decided to resign his position on his 50th birthday and try to live off the grid in a rural, self-sustaining setting. Fed up with the frustrations of academic research.
So he made it to 50, eh?
Yeah,
I'm 40.
Yeah, he was 50.
Man.
You still have time to become...
Can I put up with this for another 10 years?
Well, you still have time to become an LSD professor.
Okay.
With a monkey. I think you just need to dye your hair beard, your hair purple.
Yeah.
And, just start walking into colleges. I mean, like, all right, class is in session. Everyone sit down.
Here's some mushrooms.
We're going to figure out what happens.
Dipped in liquid
and
acid.
Go.
Yeah, all right.
Just try it out.
Cool. Just try it out. It's that easy. Just try
What's
it out.
the worst that can happen?
Just, root up everything, move
Look,
to
in
the
these
universe.
post-COVID days, the world is our oyster.
That's right.
You might not want to eat it because you could get sick.
And wear a mask.
But just wear a mask.
Oh, God, everyone tripping. You're looking at
Everybody's
everybody wearing
weird
masks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Fed up with the frustrations of academic research, he wanted to be surrounded by the beauty of nature and enjoy a measure of isolation. He purchased 40 acres of mountainous, undeveloped land in rural Georgia, and when he left Loyola for his new home, he took 2 human skulls from the...
His, favorite 2?
Apparently. And 12,000 doses of LSD.
Damn!
Yeah.
So not to last for a month.
Right.
You know who this reminds me of? The Unabomber. Professor, smart guy, got tired of Unabomber is more like technology and stuff. This guy kind of sounds like it's just the advancement of just
the changing of city life.
Yeah. And just people. Yeah, because they both didn't like people.
Well, he loved people, which is weird. He loves people.
Okay.
Yeah, he just didn't want to be in the city anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I don't know why.
So there's a couple similarities
Right.
between this guy and the Unabomber.
He kind of explains a little bit more why they left. So, in his words, again, in this article of Mother Earth News, the only person I really had to consider before making a move was my loyal friend and housekeeper, Joseph, who for 17 years had cooked for me and my boys and cared for the mansion.
I wish that meant sex. For 17 years, he cooked for me and my boys.
By
wink.
my boys, I mean my balls.
Wink, wink, wink. Please stop winking, sir.
I can't help it. I'm having a stroke.
It's all the sex. Just constant winks.
It's all the LSD and sex. I think the monkey gave me something. He'd been in trouble with the law once and had only a 5th grade education.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he learned far more about the world than I had with all my degrees. And somewhere along the line, he developed a talent for whipping up meals fit for a king. It seemed out of the question for me to ask Joseph to move to a pretty ticky-tacky house in the suburbs because he seemed to have an inherent dislike for anything modern. My companion, he does not say, My companion also insisted on using, so if you're reading this, and you're like from the you're in the 1970s, and you're reading this, you're just like, these two fellas, just these two good buddies.
I know. They just need to find a couple good girls, and they
decided to move out in the woods together. That's pretty awesome, man. Just hanging out with your buddy. You want to go live in the woods?
Yeah, let's go.
My companion also insisted on using iron skillets.
I'm going to start calling you that, my companion.
My companion, I like it. And old ironstone platters in his kitchen, confessing once that he'd always wanted to cook on a wood stove. Furthermore, I knew I could never live in an apartment, a type of dwelling which I consider to be only slightly better than a prison.
Damn.
So yeah, he's a little elitist.
That kind of dug in deep to me.
Yeah.
I kind of live in a jail cell.
He would hate where you live.
Oh, my God.
He would talk so much shit about your apartment.
Yeah.
Because you basically do live in a prison cell. Like, it's a small little apartment. He would just shit all over you.
Cinder blocks. I mean, yes.
So I wondered, where shall we go?
But I'd have a pet monkey, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
What shall we do? And with my little inheritance providing the necessary impetus for change, I made up my mind. Why not make a clean break now, I concluded. Why not get back to basics? Be poor. After some soul-searching conversations with Joseph...
Fuck you, man. Fucking just... That sounds like fun. I'll be poor.
I decided that we really needed to find some place in a hilly country with the glamour of 4 seasons but without super cold winters, with a good supply of pure water and wood for heating and cooking, and most important, with a measure of isolation.
And enough LSD to kill a herd of moose.
Yes.
Mooses.
Then he took this pretty seriously. Quote, I studied geological survey maps of southern states and wrote to the presidents of local realty boards. One such person answered that he had 40 inexpensive acres of hardwood trees in the Appalachian foothills, completely surrounded by national forest land. I figured that the cash from the sale of my city property, plus my retirement fund and the money in escrow, would allow me to make such a move. So I drove down to Georgia to take a look. There I found hummingbirds, whippoorwills, butterflies, bobcats, great oaks, fungi, and rolling mountain woodland. I was hooked.
That sounds nice.
While still lecturing, I bought the land, had a 160-foot deep well dug, planned my house, and bought a little camper and a Jeep. So they did the damn thing.
Yeah. So is this about how he murdered his former life?
Yes.
He killed that part of
the
himself
victim
that he didn't
is
like?
city life.
Yeah. Good for this guy.
Good for this guy. No, it's not good for him. Spoiler alert.
Can we just stop it right now? I feel kind of good right now, I'm man, there's hope. This guy did it. He made it out. All right? He got out of the rat race. He's got 12,000 hits of LSD.
Now,
40 acres. Fucking Appalachian Mountains. Fucking the forest. This is a good story, Josh.
If he would have been, like you said, like the Unabomber,
yeah.
Didn't want to be around people or have anything to do with them, it would have been a good life, I think. His mistake was he was very open and friendly with people.
Oh, so the story's going to keep going?
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
but we got to keep going.
Shit.
So Dr. Scudder and Joseph arrived at the property during an ice storm with their 2 dogs and whatever they could fit in their Jeep in a small camper. As they attempted to reach their hilltop, the first thing they saw was the corpse of a horse that was blocking the logging trail. So they promptly named the logging trail Dead Horse Road.
That makes sense.
The brick castle-like home they eventually raised among the trees became known as Corpsewood Manor. So they had a certain aesthetic to their lives. Dr. Scudder was a fan of the Addams Family and likened his own tastes and lifestyle to that of the spooky clan of outsiders with whom virtually every Satanist identifies on one level or another. A sign was soon nailed to the tree along the road to Corpsewood, proclaiming proudly, "Beware of the Thing."
Oh.
Dr. Scudder spent 6 years working on his dream home, building, digging, planting, and caring for the land that was feeding him and Joseph. Joseph planted a rose garden and enjoyed cooking on the wood stove. They made friends with some of the locals who brought fruit to be turned into Dr. Scudder's homemade wine.
Yummy.
And a wedding was even hosted in the rose garden, accompanied by Dr. Scudder's harp playing from the sun deck above the gazebo. He would try to make wine out of everything. He just, fruit. He tried to make, potato wine, which is vodka.
Yeah.
But, he would, take, flowers and other shit and just be like, can I make wine out of this? So...
I'm gonna drink it.
It was probably not drinkable, I would say, a lot of it. The fruit probably would be, but... the harp thing...
If you're on enough LSD, who gives a fuck what you're drinking?
Yeah, right. The harp thing, I meant to have you listen to it before we started, and I completely forgot. But on what would be the day of his demise, he recorded himself playing the harp, and like he was making like a gift for a friend that he was going to send them, like a recording.
Yeah,
and it's pretty fucking creepy.
Because you know that's the day
it's just so. I'm going to go ahead and insert that sound clip here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take an ad break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and finish off the story.
Okay.
So, yeah, check out this creepy-ass recording and keep it in mind as we go. And let's take an ad break.
All right.
When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
Alright, we are back. I hope you guys enjoyed that tremendous ad break. I'm sure it wasn't awful and boring, and you didn't skip over it at all.
I'm going to start like 4 podcasts on Anchor FM now.
So yes. And
just because I like it so much.
Do ads on all of them.
Yep.
And then that's just more money coming in.
Inception.
Wow. Alright, so the two added on a 3-story quote-unquote chicken coop.
Jesus.
The first floor was for the chickens and food storage. The second floor was for canned goods and the couple's porn collection. And the third floor was called their pink room, also referred to as their pleasure chamber.
Nice!
Supposedly, Scudder and Joseph would invite guests over and throw wild sex parties. The pink room was filled with mattresses, candles, whips, chains, pornography, and even a logbook that listed all of the guests.
So they had their porn collection, then they had more in the pink room.
They would just go down the second floor, grab whatever they wanted, bring it back up.
Their little porn library.
And the logbook would list all of the guests' sexual predilections, like what they liked.
Yeah.
So there's also they're
really good hosts.
They're really good hosts. This whole story, there's a ton of different information depending on what you're reading, and who's telling it. So, like, that was one account I read about the chains and the candles and all that. And then in another story I read, it said that the room was pink, but all that was in there was a couple mattresses and a space heater. So I don't know. Like,
that sounds like some junior high shit or something.
Yeah,
not the pink rooms, but just.
So there's a lot
There's a mattress in my basement.
There's a lot that could have been created by people after this happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know if if somebody says there's a logbook that lists. That's a weird thing to come up with.
Yeah.
So
what would you just like sign your name and like choke me daddy?
Yes. Yeah, I feel like that's something that was actually found. Yeah. Or I don't know. That's just a weird specific thing for somebody to make up. I mean, you can make it up if you wanted, but
if you come to my orgy, 2 forms of ID.
Yes, blood sample
of reference,
5 references,
covered plate. That's important. I'm gonna be hungry afterwards,
and no sex. So
not till the 3rd orgy.
It's more of just
I like to
you bringing me food.
I like to get to know everybody,
and me stealing your identity,
and then I break it off after the 2nd orgy.
Yes. So that's whatever. At least you're letting people know up front.
Sure.
Dr. Scudder continued to make art, painting and creating stained glass that was incorporated into the windows of the house. Most notoriously, he created a stained glass...
This guy is like the invention of Pinterest, I think.
Kind of. He had a lot of shit going on.
Jesus.
Yeah. He created a stained glass Baphomet sigil, which was the symbol of the Church of Satan. His interest in the occult could also be seen in the white pentagrams he painted on the doors of his black Jeep and in the catalogs and books later found in the house. He made no secret of his Satanism. While Joseph always protested that he himself was a Catholic, Dr. Scudder was very open about his beliefs. However, while Scudder referred to himself as a Satanist, he didn't really worship Satan, and there's a good chance he didn't even believe in Satan, as he was actually an atheist who simply chose to celebrate the base worldly pleasures that he and a lot of other Church of Satan members felt were denied to humans by the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
So he was just more into like the free-spirited sex, drugs,
And maybe he liked the shock and like that kind of attention.
Yeah,
too.
I'm sure it was,
I'm sure with his purple hair and his
getting people's
devil
reactions
monkey,
was great for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was probably interested in it.
Sure.
He just didn't like. I'm interested in it,
Yeah.
but I think it's a bullshit. Like,
It's
I
just
think
like
the idea of the
everything.
devil is bullshit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I believe in. I actually believe in a lot of things they believe in. So, anyways, nevertheless, even those who were pleasant towards Dr. Scudder and Joseph began to refer to them as the homosexual devil worshippers.
That's just mean, okay?
Yeah.
Like, this guy makes wine.
This guy's giving you wine, guys.
LSD.
Yeah.
He's, like, painting windows and stuff and, like, devil crosses on doors. That's aftermarket, okay?
Right. So,
To just, like,
he just built himself a little mansion in the woods.
Yeah.
And you guys are all just jealous bitches.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Charles was okay. So many locals would visit Corpsewood to marvel at the progress of its construction and partake in Scudder's homemade wine and hospitality. Charles then talk shit about him. Charles was even known to teach some of the locals how to read and write. When hunters would randomly end up on his land, he never tried to run them off, but instead would have conversations with them, offer them food and wine. And Charles really seemed to just like people, just enjoyed having people around to talk to. Among the locals that Scudder and Joseph invited into their home for parties and possibly sexual adventures of one kind or another was 17-year-old Kenneth Avery Brock. Brock had requested and received permission to hunt on the couple's property and had enjoyed their hospitality and homemade wine. Now, whether or not Brock had any kind of sexual relationship with either Scudder or Joseph is not definitively known. If statements made after later events happened are true, then yes, it does appear that there was a sexual relationship of some nature, but we don't know if that's actually true or not. Regardless of the nature of the relationship, Brock came to the conclusion that the way the two men lived must have meant that they were wealthy, which was not the case at all. Which I don't exactly, I don't know. I guess if you like found these two guys that just up and moved, built a fucking mansion.
I'm sure he probably maybe would have that air about him.
Yeah, he was really intelligent.
Yeah.
From the city.
Teach people how to read and write and just,
Yeah.
I'm sure he put off that kind of vibe.
I mean, this kid's 17 years old, too.
Yeah,
backwoods of Georgia. Yeah. In the winter of 1982...
Wait, what's that supposed to mean? Our listeners in Georgia would like to know.
I think they understand.
Okay.
Well, they don't, actually.
Yeah, they don't.
I'd spell it out for you guys, but
South Carolina.
Spelling wouldn't help you guys either.
Maybe that's like someone from South Carolina, maybe. North Carolina.
I don't.
Not
I mean...
Florida.
Wait.
All right.
Well, are we trying to figure out which states aren't stupid?
Yeah.
That's going to be
West
rough.
Virginia's pretty stupid, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they're stupid everywhere.
Us, yeah.
In the winter of 1982, Avery Brock...
They're stupid everywhere.
That's put that on my headstone.
Yep.
Avery Brock moved into a trailer with 30-year-old Tony West. Now, Tony was not exactly a stable human being or model citizen. When he was 15 years old, he killed his 2-year-old nephew, but it was ruled an accident and he served no time. Then, years later, he shot his brother-in-law in the back over a poker game. He was convicted of attempted murder and only served a short sentence, though. But, yeah, kind of flies off the handle.
Sure.
So, also, I mean, it's weird enough, or it's kind of weird that this Brock kid would be moving in with a 30-year-old dude. And that the Brock kid was hanging out with like a 50-year-old couple.
Yeah.
Anyways, supposedly, Brock told Tony about Scudder and Joseph, even telling him about the sexual relationship he had with Scudder. If that's true, then West convinced Avery that he had been taken advantage of and that Scudder and Joseph were perverted sexual predators and that Avery was a victim.
Yeah.
Now, if West's intentions were pure and honest, and he was trying to help Avery before something worse happened, this story would have probably a happy ending. And that would be kind of the right thing to do, because if it's true, then they probably should not have been having sex with a 17-year-old kid. But, however, that's not the case, and if West did convince Avery that he was a victim, it was just to manipulate him.
Yeah. He just seemed like a guy that liked violence and liked...
Well, he was also... Brock told him about... Basically told him that these guys were wealthy.
Yeah.
And, so if anything, this guy was trying to turn this Brock guy more against them.
Yeah.
So Tony and Brock were under the impression that Scudder was secretly rich, that Corpsewood Manor was full of treasure, and that by eliminating its rightful inhabitants, they could just move in. That no one would care, because they were just sinful devil worshippers after all. Besides, Dr. Scudder had tried to make Brock a homosexual and taken advantage of him. The homosexual devil worshippers deserved it, right? That's what they thought. They discussed this for weeks as they began planning out how to kill and rob Charles and Joseph. On the night of December 16th, 1982, Brock and Tony are hanging out with their friend Joey, who was supposed to go out on a date with a girl named Teresa. But since Joey's car wasn't running, the four of them all just stayed in and hung out together for a while. Eventually, though, Brock and Tony invited Joey and Teresa to go out and just drive around with them. Now, while they're driving around, they're getting super fucked up on something known as Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
Which was a cheap way to get high by huffing paint thinner and glue poured onto a rag.
Jesus.
So they're just driving around.
White trash motherfuckers.
At some point, Brock suddenly proposes that they all go to Corpsewood Manor to drink homemade wine and hang out with Dr. Scudder. Upon their arrival, Dr. Scudder was his usual hospitable self. He settled his guests into the pink room and brought them wine. Drinking and conversation proceeded in the pink room with the two teenage guests, Joey and Teresa, in one corner, sharing a pint.
One mattress.
And then Tony, Avery, and Dr. Scudder in another corner. At one point, Brock left the room, climbed down the ladder, and went out to the car to retrieve a .22 rifle he'd borrowed earlier that day from his mother, which had belonged to his father. He then climbs back up the ladder, puts the rifle in Dr. Scudder's face. Charles, probably drunk and also just a fun-loving, free-spirited kind of guy, jokingly says "bang bang" while acting out getting shot, which de-escalated the situation momentarily.
Yeah.
Everyone laughed about it, and it seemed the cooler heads had prevailed as Brock sits back down and the party continues. Suddenly, though, Brock must have remembered why they're there. He hands the rifle to Tony and pulls out a knife from his boot and puts it to Dr. Scudder's throat.
Jesus.
They start cutting up sheets to tie his hands together and gag him, and begin demanding that Charles tell them where the money is hidden. Charles pleads with them and tells them that he has no hidden money. Frustrated, Brock leaves the chicken coop and enters the main house where Joseph Odom was. After Brock leaves the chicken coop, Joey and Teresa take off down the ladder and begin running down the road to try to escape, but Tony runs after them, he catches up with them, and then walks them back up to the chicken coop at gunpoint. Carrying a pistol that he'd also
they just wanted to bang.
They were just, they just planned to go out for the night, and now this shit's happening.
They wanted to Toodaloo and then Toodaloo to doo-doo-doo. I don't know.
That's what it was known as back then, especially in Georgia.
Fucking.
Carrying a pistol that he'd also brought with him, Brock entered the home and shot Odom 4 times.
Jesus.
Killing him as Odom seemingly tried to escape upstairs to retrieve a gun. Odom was found dead in the hallway, having been killed by 4 bullets to the head.
Oh, man.
Brock also shot and killed the 2 English Mastiffs.
Son of a
It's likely that he shot the dogs first, which prompted Odom to jump up and run for the gun, and then he shot Odom down. Brock returned to the chicken coop and began bragging about what he had done in the main house. Brock and Tony forced everyone down the ladder and into the main house at gunpoint. West and Brock continued to threaten and beat Dr. Scudder as they attempted to find out where the money was.
Man.
His
companion's been killed, his dogs.
Yeah.
Jesus,
so he's sitting there looking at all of this, and
there's a once friend doing it, Brock.
Yeah. As they're asking him where the money is and all that, they're ransacking his house, and of course they don't find any treasure.
Yeah.
So earlier, on the day of his death, Dr. Scudder, and I don't know if this actually happened, this could just be a part of the shit people made up at some point, and it got, So earlier on the day of his death, Dr. Scudder had been playing his harp, and then used a battery-powered portable stereo to record himself playing and reciting the words to William Blake's The Tiger. It was to be a gift for a friend. And that's the audio we played earlier.
Yeah.
Supposedly, as the perpetrators ransacked the house, they mistakenly hit play on the stereo, and in a twist of fate suitable only for a horror movie, Dr. Scudder's voice boomed out a soundtrack during this nightmare. So again, might have happened, but who knows. Even as Tony and Brock screamed orders at him to sit still, to give them information, Charles was overcome with grief at the sight of his dead loved one and walked across the room to kneel beside him. Dr. Scudder's last words were, quote, "I asked for this."
Oh,
I don't exactly know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know if he...
Maybe wanting to move out there.
Yeah, I don't know if he thinks it was his fault. This is, you know... Brock and Tony put 5 bullets in Dr. Scudder's head, killing him as he lay beside his longtime friend and lover. What's really interesting and very strange and haunting is that at some point in time before his murder, like weeks, months, I don't know, Scudder had spoken of visions he had of his death, eventually painting a self-portrait depicting his own death. Jeez. In the portrait, he is gagged with what appears to be 5 bullet holes in his head, surrounded by the same red bricks that Corpsewood Manor was built with. I'll show you that painting here after we're done. Yeah. It's fucking creepy.
Damn, man.
Yeah, he had described to people around town these visions that he had.
Yeah.
After grabbing...
Maybe that's what he meant too by I
maybe
asked for this.
He brought it upon himself. Or, you know, maybe he was really into some satanic shit. Like, maybe he wasn't just
Yeah.
Maybe he really was into it and he had performed some shit. We don't know.
Oh, man.
So, after grabbing what little valuables they could find, the 2 murderers held Teresa at gunpoint. She begged for her life, pleading with them to let her live because she had a 2-year-old daughter, and promised that she wouldn't go to the police. Luckily, this worked, and Teresa and Joey were allowed to leave with their lives. Avery and Brock and Tony left Corpsewood Manor in the most inconspicuous vehicle they could find, Charles and Joseph black Jeep marked with white crucifixes. I don't know why. They had their own vehicle.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they take this thing.
I was nicer.
I guess, maybe. It was 2 days before the crime scene.
Or maybe they let the couple take
their car.
Yeah. Because they couldn't leave it there.
If I'm trying to escape from a murder I just committed, I'm probably not taking
their car.
Especially with giant white crucifixes painted on it. Like,
well, rest easy knowing that you're smarter than a dumb, backwood, redneck piece of shit.
You know what? I will rest easy. It's the only way I can rest, actually.
Good.
I just have to tell myself that every night. It was 2 days before the crime scene was discovered by a friend of Dr. Scudder and Joseph's, who had came by to tell the pair about a mutual friend who had passed away. He never entered the home, but knew something was not right, so he alerted the police. Investigators found human skulls, occult symbols, gay-centric literature and paintings, and boxes of medical-grade LSD in a small drawer. Reportedly...
God, do you think he was tripping when he died?
I don't know.
Fuck, man.
Reportedly, 6,000 of the 12,000 doses were missing.
Yeah, but they were there for years, right?
6 years, yeah. It was later reported that all of the LSD doses were there, and that they were old and no longer usable. So I don't know. Like, some people say that when he took them, it was just like a trophy for him.
Okay.
But
I get that. Yeah, it would dry out. I mean,
but again, maybe not. Like, maybe he took them. They did a shitload of it. Yeah. Oh, the 6,000 doses. Even over 6 years, that's a fucking lot.
That's like giving them out to people every night.
Yeah. If they were really holding parties and stuff. Yeah. All of this was relayed to the local media by the police, which crafted public opinion of Charles and Joseph, who viewed the pair as devil-worshipping homosexuals who deserved what they got.
That's awful.
Yeah. So Teresa went to the sheriff the next day, or the day after the police had discovered the
gruesome crime. She broke her promise?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She quickly broke that promise. As soon as
nothing worse than someone who just goes back on their word.
Right. I mean, murder's one thing.
Teresa.
Well, she didn't pinky promise, I don't think.
Oh, okay, yeah. She probably had her fingers crossed, too, like behind her back.
So the day after the police discovered the gruesome crime, she goes to the sheriff's office and details everything that she witnessed. She's probably the only reason Charles and Joseph's deaths were really even, like, investigated and acted upon.
Especially back then. They just see all that devil shit. They probably just...
A small
two guys living together, they just write it off.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Oh, man.
Good job, Teresa. During this time... Although, this next thing we're going to talk about, I think is really the only reason Brock and Tony got what they got. So I honestly think that if it was just Charles and Joseph that had been killed, there was probably a good chance they would have.
Oh.
So, during this time, Tony and Brock were on their way to Mexico. They stopped at a rest stop in Mississippi to sleep for the night, and when they woke up the next morning, they found Navy Lieutenant Kirby Phelps asleep in a Jeep next to them. Phelps was traveling to Oklahoma City to visit his mother for Christmas and pulled into the rest stop to sleep for the night as well. Tony and Brock woke Phelps up and, assumingly at gunpoint, handcuffed him. Tony took Phelps out into the woods where he supposedly just planned on handcuffing him to a tree, but while Brock was switching all of their possessions into Kirby's Jeep, Tony shot Phelps twice, killing him.
Jesus.
They stole Phelps' Jeep and made it to Austin, Texas, where they pawned the stereo in the Jeep since they really had no money at this point. So I don't know what happened to their plan of we'll just move in.
Yeah.
Like, that went to shit real quick for them, apparently.
Like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So I guess after you shoot someone in the head,
Although, I mean, your plan has to be we're going to shoot these guys and kill them, and then we're going to bury their bodies.
Yeah.
But they just shot and killed them, and they're like, we really don't feel like...
Couldn't find
Although,
money.
I guess they figured out there's no money, so, yeah.
They probably thought that they could live there with all their money. And
right.
Again, they're not the smartest guys.
That bright, yeah. So before they could ever make it to Mexico, the two began arguing and fighting with one another, eventually going their separate ways.
There's no I in team, guys, okay?
It was a fucking I and win. Avery returned to Georgia and turned himself in, while Tony returned to where he was originally from, Tennessee, and surrendered to the local authorities there. Tony, having avoided much jail time for his two previous crimes in Tennessee, assumed that they would be lenient on him once again. When he turned himself in, he was actually wearing Kirby Phelps' suit. The authorities in Tennessee immediately extradited Tony to Georgia, where he and Brock were put on trial.
I thought we were friends, Tennessee.
Part of the perpetrator's defense was to allege that Dr. Scudder had drugged them with LSD that had been discovered on the premises. But in fact, there was no trace of any drugs anywhere in the bottles of wine Dr. Scudder had passed around. And the LSD vials found were old laboratory samples, mostly dried up with yellowed labels, that Dr. Scudder had saved as souvenirs from his days as a research scientist. In their attempt to flee the state of Georgia, and the responsibility for their stupid and senseless crimes, the murderers had killed a third party at a rest stop, a young Navy officer who was waiting for Christmas. They stole his car, his clothes, and his cash. Their pathetic lie about being drugged against their will by Dr. Scudder failed to explain the third cold-blooded murder for anything other than what it was.
Yeah.
So I think that murder is what
senseless.
Even public opinion.
It's all senseless.
Even public opinion is turning against them.
Yeah.
During his confession, Tony said, "All I can say is they were devils and I killed them. That's how I feel about it." Both men were found guilty. Brock received 3 consecutive life terms, while West was sentenced to death. Tony's death sentence was later overturned on appeal, however, and today, I believe as of today, both men are still behind bars.
All right, good.
Stories began to circulate about the couple's unusual homestead, probably helped along by the fact that it had a name like Corpsewood Manor.
Yeah. And everybody wants to be in on a good story, too.
Yeah. Even before a fire destroyed most of the non-brick portions of the buildings, people began to say that the place was haunted. Whether Corpsewood's alleged paranormal activity was due to the brutal murder of its inhabitants, or the devil worshipping that supposedly went on beforehand, depends on who you ask.
Maybe it was haunted before.
Maybe. Just the ground was...
That's why that horse was dead.
Ooh.
Horses don't just die. Horses live forever.
I don't think that's true.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll have to fact check you. I don't know enough about horses to argue with you. So you could be right.
We're going to get into this later.
Okay.
All right. You're saying maybe.
So wait, why would this be dead then?
Exactly. That's the kind of haunted ground this is in.
No.
It was able to kill.
It has the power to kill a horse.
Yes.
But don't horses get shot to death all the time?
What?
Because they break their leg or something?
Huh?
You know what? We'll do a whole episode about horses and their deaths, or the lack thereof. Even to this day, those who visit the ruins of Corpsewood Manor say that they hear gunshots, the barking of dogs, or even the strains of a golden harp.
Gee, in the woods of Georgia?
Yeah,
okay, the harps maybe.
And the barking dogs.
Yeah.
But then they hear a harp, apparently. And those who take a brick from the crumbling remains of the buildings are said to be cursed for life.
Oh. I must have taken one of those bricks when I didn't know it.
I told you to quit collecting bricks. It's a weird thing to do.
I slept walk there and grabbed the brick one night when I was young.
Slept walk to Georgia.
Yep.
That's a good country song.
It really sounds scary as hell. Sounds like a song.
All right, so that's the story of Dr. Charles Scudder and
man.
Corpsewood Manor.
I wish we would have stopped when they just moved to the woods and were happy.
Yeah, things seem good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fucking white, redneck, backwood pieces of trash.
I mean, if it wasn't for fucking crazy Tony,
Yeah.
like that Brock kid would have probably.
Yeah. I mean, they do sound kind of even if Brock was somewhat willing, he's still only 17. That dude's 50.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
So, yeah, that's creepy as shit.
But it's
and
not
cool.
murderous and just cold blooded.
Right. But I feel like if it wasn't for Tony, like that Brock kid would have probably just kept hanging out.
Yeah.
Just getting wine.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you have going
Maybe
on?
like Tiger King, he would have accidentally eventually shot himself.
Yes.
You know, showing how he couldn't shoot himself.
Right.
But he wouldn't have just killed,
So yeah, Crazy Tony's really what
Joseph, that's
sparked
really,
everything.
Yeah, I feel bad about Joseph.
Yeah, and then Joseph's just some dude that's just like hanging out with this.
Yeah.
He just loves Charles.
Yeah. Not crazy devil worshipping. Not
Yeah.
just Charles.
Just it's him.
Well,
Yeah, so there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like
dogs. I
Yeah.
don't even know what happened to the monkey.
I know. I don't know what. Like it never
I
talks
feel
about the
like
monkey again.
82, like there would be more crime scene. But like you said, maybe just because in this back town, Georgia, and just once they saw that it was two men, with devil worshipping ties, they were just like, oh, fuck it all.
Well, there was something I read. So, like, once again, as most cases we read on this podcast, like, immediately the cops just let everyone start walking over the crime
And the
scene.
next day, Teresa, pretty much when they found it then, because they said it took 2 days to be found, and the next day, Teresa, so that wasn't like a big investigation. It wasn't like they were probably, I don't know.
I mean, if Teresa hadn't came forward,
they would just,
then, I mean, I guess when Brock and Tony decide they're going to turn themselves in, which, again, I don't know.
They only turned themselves in probably because they killed the other guy.
Maybe. Like, I don't know if they knew they were being, like, so after Teresa gives their names, I don't know if the two guys know that the authorities are looking for them, and that's why they turn themselves in, or if they just figure, what else, we got nothing else to do.
I'm sure they found out that people were looking for him. Yeah. Called home or something.
Because I thought it was weird that he went back to Tennessee and, like, immediately turned himself in.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a different state. Try to hide out for a while, man. Like, you have a little bit of a chance.
You're going to be a good murderer one day, Josh. I can tell.
I think it's
murderers always start with someone they're close to. Wink.
Yeah, but isn't it just like assisted suicide?
Oh, yeah. This episode just getting darker.
You winked
and darker.
at me. You winked at me.
I know. I can't stop. It's all the LSD and the monkey.
I wish. I'd love to have get my
Your
hands
shirt
on
makes me feel like I'm tripping.
12,000 doses
Humans
of LSD.
aren't real.
Yeah.
Am I real?
Are any of us real?
I don't know, man.
I don't either, dude. So yeah, we're back with some murder. We'll be eventually we'll get to the backyard story.
Yeah.
But
it'll probably have murder in it.
I miss talking about murder and death.
Yeah.
So
me too.
And some crime. So yeah, you got anything did you watch did you catch up on the Jordan documentary?
Yeah, watched all that. Apparently he did win his 6th title.
Apparently he did.
I had $20 on Utah.
Man, you should not have made that bet. You should have asked me first.
I like the I wonder how did they know the pizza was. Did they just think it was going to any Bulls? Maybe they were like, that's the hotel the Bulls. They said like 5 people delivered the pizza. And they were trying to look in the room and shit. Like George's the only one that ate the pizza. Did anyone else want a slice? Was he just like, fuck you guys, it's for me? I'm Michael Jordan.
It was. So there was the director.
How does a pizza get in the room and nobody else wants a slice? Someone else wanted a slice of that pizza.
Let me tell you.
Oh, I'm so mad at Michael Jordan.
I have the answer.
Okay.
I have the fucking answer.
I'm sorry.
So the director came out today, was talking in an interview, and he said that all of the other guys that were hanging around Jordan went out and ate.
Yeah.
Without Jordan. So when Jordan finds out, he's
Jordan probably couldn't go out. I don't know.
He was probably busy, whatever. Yeah. But he was like, well, fuck, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, we've already ate. So he was, so he wants food. They find this one pizza place, it's the only thing open. Because, even, most places, I guess, in Utah, that area shut down pretty early anyways.
Like 3 p.m.
Yeah. so when he gets the pizza, he tells everyone, this is my fucking pizza, no one else is eating it. And then he proceeds to spit on every slice of the pizza. So no one will eat it.
Oh, he Hey, man. I love Michael Jordan, but his brain, dude.
Yeah. I don't know how he didn't conquer the world.
Yeah.
Like,
how has he not, like, got a cure for COVID yet?
I don't know. Like that.
Like, tell Michael Jordan that COVID
he has that, like,
about him.
he has that, like, he leans more towards, like, the evil side, I feel.
Yeah.
Like,
I love him.
Like, if he went in a different direction in his life,
yeah,
like, we could have had, like, a serious dictator on our hands.
Like, don't change Michael Jordan, but goddamn, this guy spitting on all the slices just because they went out to eat without him.
Right. I mean, I don't blame him. Like, fuck you guys. Also, like, he's a 6'6".
Yeah, 6'6".
6'6".
From North Carolina.
Like, fucking super athletic guy. Like, I'm sure his metabolism's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I know Tim, he has really good metabolism. That dude could put in a whole pizza, no problem.
I have a pretty good metabolism. No, I don't.
So,
I can just put away a whole
I'm
pizza.
sure Jordan could easily,
yeah.
Whatever. So, I don't know what, the one thing I kept wondering was, like, why did 5 guys show up?
And they were like, it's not that often that 5 guys. It's never.
Never.
It is never.
Never in the history of pizza delivery.
Like, I don't even think there's 5 guys working there that night at 10:30. Like, they must have, he must have went and got, friends.
So that's what I was thinking, was that.
And they probably the same hotel they used the year before.
Yeah. So they probably knew that this was, like, the hotel that whatever.
Yeah.
But
it's going up to this floor, and that's. So they probably didn't know it was Michael Jordan. They just thought it was some member of the Chicago Bulls.
Maybe. Yeah, that was a weird.
I want 30 for 30 for that motherfucker.
Just that story?
Yeah. The guy that drugged them, whose idea it was.
But see, I don't think that happened either. I just think they order a pizza at 2 a.m., they said. I think it was.
10:30.
Was it? I thought it was a lot later.
I thought it was 10:30.
Whatever time it was. But, I mean, that had to be close to, closing time.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe some of the ingredients have been sitting out.
He said food poisoning. Yeah, because they said food poisoning.
Food poisoning was just from. I just think something went bad.
I think they did something to it.
I mean, maybe. But I feel like that was, if, that story they told about the poisoning.
Yeah.
And, they kept, saying poisoning.
Yeah. It wasn't the flu. It was food poisoning.
I feel like that's just Michael Jordan coming up with a thing in his head that somebody in Utah tried to poison him to keep him from out of this game, and he ain't going to fucking go out that way. I just feel like that's more Jordan's brain coming up with, the shit that could happen.
Do you think they would have won a 7th title?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah.
If they could have got Scotty.
I was looking at the 99 roster. They had Ron Artest on there, B.J. Armstrong they brought back. So even if they would have, changed out a couple players but had those core 4, 3 or 4, I think they would have.
If they could have got Scotty and Dennis Rodman back,
yeah,
and then you get Jordan with Phil coaching.
Kerr hitting the shots.
I mean, even if they have to trade Kerr.
Yeah.
Or whoever else on the team could be traded.
Fuck Jerry Krause.
I still think they would have won.
I like how Pippen did say he was the best GM ever, though.
Yeah.
They showed love at the end.
Right. So, I think the year once you get past that year, though, then I think you start going
2000.
I think it starts going downhill. You got Kobe and Shaq. Coming up.
Because Pippen was pretty good that first year in Houston. Because he went to Houston, then he left them for Portland. Yeah. And he was real good in Portland. They made to the Western Conference Finals, but they lost to the Lakers. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like they would have. I think they would have won a 7th. I don't think it would have won any farther than that.
Yeah.
But then, Jordan, I didn't realize this, but when he came back that second time, played for the Wizards.
Yeah.
He played 53 games. Dude was still playing at a high fucking level.
Yeah, just with the Wizards.
Yeah, just he was.
I was hoping they would talk about that a little bit, just his effect on Rip Hamilton, and then Rip went to Detroit.
I feel like there's going to be another documentary
and helped them win because I feel like kind of Rip obviously wasn't Jordan, but I mean he was just making some of those shots that Jordan kind of.
Oh yeah.
At the end of his career, Jordan wasn't dunking as much; he was hitting more shots.
Right.
He was, that's what he really worked on, and I feel like. There's so much more to the story.
I think I'm sure they'll put out another documentary.
There's no other sports
about his Wizards time. Yeah. So I'm surprised it hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
There's the really good documentary called Jordan Rides the Bus. That's
about
30-30 about baseball. Yeah. It's really good. What's your overall main takeaway?
Jordan's the best.
Just yeah.
Yeah, we talked about kind of last week too, but just.
Well, we didn't because the episode never
happened. But the introduction to the series, there were just always sound bites. Even from Jordan, was people aren't going to like me after they see this, or you thought you knew Michael Jordan. It's I don't. Yeah. He was the best competitor ever. Just insane.
Just
worth that.
It seemed like there were times that
and he was a dick.
He refused to lose, and just on like some sort of like ungodly will.
Yeah.
They won. Like
just pick up the team.
He just decided, all right, fuck it, we're winning.
Yeah.
So
he was just good, man.
I think any of the
their soft spots too. His dad dying, him giving that security guard the basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed like after that one game, he went around the whole locker room, shook everyone's hands. I love the shit he gave that Scott Burrell.
Yeah, just constant.
Like I don't remember that dude, but I like went back and looked him up and stuff, and like.
Yeah, I don't remember him at all.
He was so he's like Scott Burrell. I see you after this. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Right.
And he was hard on him, but you could tell he cared about everybody.
The Steve Kerr story got to me. Like,
yeah, his dad,
I knew about that, but not a lot.
I didn't know any of it.
Like I knew his dad had been like somebody like at an embassy and had died there, but I didn't know he got murdered.
Like one college offer from Arizona.
Yeah.
just went. Didn't even like go visit. He's like, "Yep, I'll play basketball."
Right. Yeah. You're the one who's gonna take me, so I'm here. Yeah. So
it's a good series.
Man, it was credible. Definitely Jordan's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's a lot of argument. I mean, when you
back our 2-3-peats is just
when you start putting up stats, like LeBron is really up there, but like if you take their stats, you basically look at them, they break even. But then Michael Jordan wanted to win every single game, no matter what. And I feel like LeBron does not have that.
Yeah.
Like
just the era too. So I hate to be that guy too, but I mean, just they were going after Jordan.
Yeah.
Like just the Pistons series, even like just the New York, Indiana. Like LeBron gets barely touched now, and it's just anybody, all of them pretty much. But yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, if LeBron would take one of those fucking hits, he would complain about it for
the rest
months.
of the game. Yeah, forever.
Yeah. So, and Jordan would just get up. All right, fuck it.
He went and worked out harder in the offseason. LeBron's just a lot bigger and just a different kind of body,
right,
than Jordan is.
I do think.
I feel like Jordan had to work a lot harder for it. Like you said, he just wants it, so like in a different way.
I do think when the NBA starts back up, there's going to be some guys like LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, Trey Young.
Atlanta, yeah.
I feel like some of these guys, I think they're going to come out and just be...
Especially after getting it taken away from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take it for granted, I would imagine.
Right.
Year after year.
Come out, just explode.
Yeah.
So it should be... I cannot wait for the NBA to get back. Right.
They just all explode like that. It's going to be a mess. Better bring a towel.
Yeah.
Always on, aren't you?
Better bring a towel.
Always on, aren't you?
All right. Well, anything else going on?
Nope.
No comedy. Yeah, you don't have any comedy coming up, of course.
No.
Nothing's happening. The world's dying.
Buying records and shit, that's it.
Yeah. How much you paying for shit?
The shit's free, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a shit guy.
All right, you got a shit guy. All right, well, I think we're done here. I think if we stay any longer, we're just going to embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, I'll have to sleep here.
Well, you can sleep outside.
All right.
You can sleep out in the living room. I don't care which one.
I'm on my way.
It's really hot out there in the living room.
I'll just leave.
Okay.
All right.
Get the fuck out.
Okay, bye.